Hello! I'm coming at you with a very short, sweet, to the point brand overview for Quicksand Cosmetics. So if you want to see some swatches of a few of their shades, as well as hear my thoughts about the brand, hear prices, shipping information, all that good stuff, then go ahead and just keep on watching and subscribe. Before I get into swatching the few shades that I have, I did want to give a quick shout out to Swatches by Fish, aka Mel. Her video on Quicksand Cosmetics bumped them up my list quite a few spots and like who I wanted to try first. So I would recommend checking out that video. I'll have it linked down below. She got a lot more shades than I did, so she'll have a better swatch video for all the different shades if you're considering making a purchase. But for now, let's get into my few swatches. I guess I should get out of the way right off the bat. I only paid for 2 of these shades. I picked up Wanderlust and Event Horizon. This shade in the middle, Clara, was gifted to me by the brand for being a first-time purchaser, which was very sweet of the brand owner, and it's nice to have an extra one to review for you all. So now let's get into swatches. First up, we've got this shade, Wanderlust, and you guys, I think I'm getting into my orange eyeshadow era. This is a pretty pure, like, orange sparkly shadow. The base of it is that orange. You're not really getting anything else in the base. You can see it does kind of shift gold. There's maybe a little bit of chartreuse in there too, like leaning a little bit green, but mostly it's that orange. And then some of the sparkles go a little bit more like reddish orange as well. So it's a very dimensional shadow, really beautiful, very sparkly. I'm not sure if you can see that, but I really enjoyed this one so far. And I have worn all 3 of these on the eyes, I should say. Next up, we've got the shade Clara, and this is described as a satin, and I think that's very accurate. It's like a neon yellow, and then it's got a bright, like hot pink kind of shift in it. I also feel like there's a little bit of a golden shift in it as well, other than like the neon yellow. There's like a gold kind of orange that sits on top of that. And this is a really cool shade. Unfortunately, I had like just ordered what I think is going to be an exact dupe of this shade from Pastel Roses. So once I get that, I'm definitely eager to compare the two and see how similar they are. But for the time being, this is a very unique shade for me. And I probably would have picked it up if I didn't know I had a dupe of it coming in the mail, but I am still very happy that she included it in my order. I will note though, this one does stain. It kind of leaves behind like a highlighter yellow kind of stain. And then lastly, I picked up Event Horizon. This is a flaky boy. I'm not sure if you can see like by just me touching it, but you can definitely see on my finger swatch. It's got that chunky, flaky kind of finish, whereas this I would say is sparkle. You will see this is flake. See how it doesn't spread out quite evenly like when I first apply it and there's chunks and things? That's what I would consider to be flaky. And when you smooth it out, you can kind of do it in a few different ways. You can get something piecey, which is how I wore this on the eyes, just as like a light sparkle, kind of spaced out. But you still definitely do get those shifts in it when you wear it this way. Or you could build it up and like use a glitter glue to make it more even. Because without building it up, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get it without the reflection. But I'm not sure if you can see. Hopefully you can, maybe. Like, it's definitely not even in the base when it is kind of just swatched like this. I would either recommend doing it more piecey to get an even sparkle or using a glitter glue to build it up to full opacity. And for this one and a lot of them on the site, I kind of found it hard to know exactly what they were going to look like. Like, I thought that this one was going to have a dark base, and it does. It's got like a dark blue base to it, but in the pictures on the website, I felt like you could really only see the sparkles on top and not a whole lot of the base color. So it was kind of a guessing game. This shade reminds me of one that I have, and I guess that leads us into dupes. I'll show you dupes for these, and then we'll get into my overall thoughts on the brand. But this is definitely a type of shade that a lot of brands have. I'll go ahead and just do the dupe for this shade right now while it's still swatched with the others. This is the shade Takeover from Shine by SD, and this one is a little bit more blue, like of bright blue in the base, whereas this one's like a little bit of a darker blue. And you can see this one goes more of like a pinkish red, whereas this goes more of like a purpley pink. And then the gold is stronger on this one. There is a gold there as well. And then there is a green too, and I would say that the greens are pretty similar. So this is my closest dupe to this shade, but I think that there are much more similar dupes, and I'll try to find one or two and put them up on the screen. Texture wise, they're pretty similar. They both are like that PC flaky texture, but this is more PC and flaky. This one applies much smoother from Shine by SD, whereas this one you kind of have to work with to get it smoothed out. But I mean, there are pros and cons to that, right? I feel like this one you can more easily use in different ways, whereas the Shine by SD one is maybe a little bit less versatile. All right, I've got a fresh arm again, so we'll do Wanderlust in the middle, and then we're gonna do Celeste from Shine by SD on top, and then we're going to do Lynx from Divina underneath. So I feel like both of these have something similar, but this one is different from these other two. So the Shine by SD shade, first of all, it has more of like a gray base, and then it goes a little less like true bright orange. I think it may have something to do with that base color. And this one does shift a little bit more visibly, and it does go to that green, that gold, and then that like peachy red kind of color as well. So something similar, but not the same. This is more of the multi-chrome version of this shade. Sparkle-wise, I'd say they're pretty similar, and that's kind of where these two are at. Lynx, I pulled out because it has an orange base, but this is more of a reddish orange, whereas this on the base is more of a like true orange, I would say. This leans a little bit more red looking. And then you can see that gold sparkle is more of a golden green, whereas this one is more of a yellow gold. All right, now let's do overall thoughts now that we've swatched out these shades. So first of all, shipping was a little expensive. It was like $7.80 for these three shades, really these two, because I placed an order for two. I placed an order during like their sale. I think it was to celebrate a year of business, so congrats on that. And they did a 30% off sale, which was, for me, the only reason that I purchased, because I'm not gonna lie, I think that these are really expensive without that discount. So this shade Event Horizon without the discount is listed at $19.99, which is pretty dang expensive. In comparison, this shade from Shine by SD is listed at around $16 US. It fluctuates since it's Canadian pricing. Something that's interesting though, these pans are lofty, you guys. Like, these are thick, heavy pans, and they're much larger than any other brand I have. This isn't a great comparison. I'm not sure if you can really tell at all, but these are thicker than every other brand that I've tried, and they're really easy to pick out within my massive collection because of that, because they sit just a little bit higher. I'm not sure if maybe this angle helps show it a little bit better, but that's one thing I noticed immediately. I was like, wow, these are, if I threw this at you, it could knock you out. These are some lofty pans. With the discount though, this shade was down to $13.99, and to me, that is a much more approachable price tag for this shade and makes it a very competitive brand price-wise compared to some of the heavy hitters like Shine by SD or Cleona or Terra Moons. I'm assuming that the reason that these are typically a higher price is because this seems like a very small independent brand. There's a lot of money that goes into purchasing these pigments, especially if you're doing smaller quantities. And so I can understand why that might make these more expensive. But at the discounted price, like I said, I was very happy with the quality of these. If I paid $20 for this, I don't know if I would love it as much as I do having paid $14 for it. I'm not sure if that makes sense to you all, but at the end of the day, I consider myself to be more of a consumer resource, and you know, I love supporting small brands. That's part of what drew me to Indie Shadows in the first place, but I love supporting consumers more because this stuff is very expensive, and I want to make sure I'm giving you guys the best resources for like what's worth it and what's not. And so personally, I would say that this is worth the $14 price tag, not worth the $20 price tag. And the same goes for this one. I mean, I honestly might have paid full price for this shade. This one was listed a little bit cheaper. I think it might have been like $14.99 initially, and I got it for $10.99 or something around that. Sorry, I don't remember the specifics, but this is a really nice shadow. I love this texture a lot more than I personally like these flakier shades, although I know that's up to each individual. But this is a very high quality shadow. It's unique to what I have, which is saying something, because at this point I feel like I've got a pretty large collection, and so that's one I'm very happy with and would totally recommend, but especially at that $10 price point, I think, again, very competitive with other indie brands. Clara, I also really like. I didn't purchase this one, so if you take into account like the money I paid for these two but got three, I'm really happy with the price per shadow once that breaks down. But this one I think is listed at that same price as Event Horizon, and keeping in the back of my mind, like, I'm about to get what I believe, I mean, you know, take it with a grain of salt, but I believe it's an exact dupe, and I got that shade from Pastel Roses. I got it on sale, but I think full price it's listed at like $9 something. So to pay almost $20 for this versus like the $9 for the Pastel Roses, and that's where Quicksand kind of starts to be a less competitive brand in my opinion. But at those sale prices, I think that this is a very competitive brand across the board. I can't remember if I said this already, but the shipping was a little expensive, but it got to me very fast. It was packed in a bubble mailer. It was holographic and super cute. And then it also came with a couple of other goodies. So I got this like little like tarot card kind of thing, which I thought was really cute. And it kind of gives me inspiration for a build your own palette featuring these three shades, because I feel like they kind of play very well with this image. And then I got a little postcard that, you know, said thank you, explained why I got the free shade, and it's got this cool wax seal, which is nice. I thought this was a very nice touch. I always love these like personal notes from brands. I know like Copacetic does things like this. Cleona used to. I'm not sure if they still do. I have an order coming soon, so I guess we'll find out. But I love this. I think this is so cute. And then I got this little package, and it had like little stickers in it. So first of all, holographic again, which maybe this is iridescent. This is iridescent, but still very cute. I think you could consider this a diamond, but I like to think of it as like a little terrarium that has the galaxy in it, which is so cool. I'm actually going to try my best to like peel this sticker off and use it on one of my big storage palettes. So we'll see how well I can do that. But there also are these little stickers that came with it. So we've got a flower. We've got this one, which is hilarious. So there's like ashes of racist legislatures, blood of bigoted politicians, transphobe tears, tongue of cat collar, ironic tonic, you know, super cute. And for me and my personality and my beliefs aligns very well with me. So love that. And then this one says Texas 1845. And so I thought that was really cool. I don't know if these are designed by the owner or where she gets these, but Very nice touch. Always love when brands include stickers because I put them on my palettes. And then lastly, I got like this little turquoise heart, which I think is so freaking cute. I have like a collection of like little like knickknacks on my office desk, and that is where this will live after I'm done filming this video. So all that to say, it did come with like a lot of goodies, but I have to be honest, I think that I would rather the shadows be that lower price tag all the time rather than get things like this. Although the postcard, I love a good postcard from a brand owner. It makes it feel really like nice and, you know, small and like you're really helping out an individual, which is nice. But I'm saying if I could choose to drop the shades by 10% or get this with the shades at cost, I would say drop the shade price like 10%. Just me personally. I know though, like these small touches are what keep customers coming back, and so I can respect like these being included, and I freaking love all of the little goodies that I got. Wear wise, these shadows have worn well. Like I said, the yellow did stain a little bit. I actually got a compliment on this shade when I was out and about at like a farmer's market. Someone was like, I love the glitter, and I was like, oh, thank you, not glitter, which is even better. So love getting compliments out and about. And this one is my personal fave. I have never been an orange eyeshadow person, but I think I'm slowly being converted, and this is like one of the best oranges that I've had and tried. So I would say overall, definitely a brand to keep on your watch list if you are an indie eyeshadow aficionado. I will say, I think that a lot of the shades that they have in their permanent collection, because they have some that come in and out, but it seems like the ones that are permanent are dupes for a lot of other brands. Like I know that Nippur, she did a comparison between some shades. I'll link her Instagram down below if you don't follow her already. But one of their most popular shades, I think it's called Sunbeam Citrine, and it is a dupe for the shade Skyla, which I just got from Divina, and it's also a dupe for a Terra Moon shade. So like that's one. This is a shade that a lot of brands have. I'm pretty sure that she's got a like green with like an orange, gold, lime green shift, and that reminds me of, you know, Mural from Cleona. I have the version Next Level from Shine by SD. There is the version Ganymede from Terra Moons, like blah, 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 blah. Everyone's got that shade. She does too. And so when they are listed at that like $14 price point, that is a better deal for those types of shades than you will find from those larger indie brands. So I would highly recommend keeping your eye out on this brand for when they do those larger discount sales, because that's going to be your best price to get some of those really desirable like color shifts that we're seeing a lot of recently. And I'm really happy with the wear and texture, although this one's a little flaky for my taste, but again, to each their own. Just keep in mind what texture it is that you're getting, and check out that video that I mentioned at the beginning for a resource, and you can also just check the hashtag Quicksand Cosmetics. I feel like there's a lot of good Instagram content around this brand, and so you can kind of hopefully figure out texture wise what something is before you get it, because they definitely aren't all the same. It's not so bad to navigate and figure out what you're actually getting before it gets to your door, although this one was a little different than I expected. All right. Well, what I said was going to be a short video has become a long video, so I'm going to wrap this up. I hope that this was helpful for you, especially if you've been considering Quicksand Cosmetics. If you've tried the brand before, leave your comments down below. Let's help each other out. Let's help each other find the good shades, decide whether or not it's even worth buying from a certain brand, so on and so forth. Because at the end of the day, I'm trying to help you save money, and I want you all to help me save money and tell me what's worth it and what's not. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Like it if you have. And until I see you next time, I hope that you stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy. Bye.